Hi there, Jenna here. Welcome to my channel where I take you on tours of tiny or incredible spaces. In this week's episode, we're going to meet one family who have built several shipping container homes in Ohio. Though we've featured plenty of container homes before on this channel, I think you guys are really going to like this one because it's extremely unique. Not only did they play with cantilevers and have to fit the containers in a tight canyon-like space, but also the interior design is absolutely stunning. And I can't wait for you to hear why they believe building with containers have incredible benefits, but also a few challenges. And if you like videos like this, where we showcase people building alternative homes, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell because we publish a new video for you every single week.
Hi, we're Emily and Seth Britt.
And this is the Roca BoxHop. So the first interest in shipping container homes came when I was working and I loaded shipping containers and just realizing that this space is airtight, watertight, and about the same size as the house I grew up in. So when Emily and I first started dating, a lot of dreaming going on between the two of us. At some point I told her, hey, we should build a house out of shipping containers one day, that'd be cool. That's kind of how the BoxHop came to be. Emily told me as soon as we walked through this valley here, she said, we have to find a way to put a house here. And I was like, oh no, please. So it was not easy to do. What you see behind me, you've got two 40-foot containers and a 20-foot container. The tower with the gold roof on it, that is traditionally framed. We get a lot of questions about that. But it was not easy getting a 40-foot container down a ravine, squeezing it around these cliffs and fitting it in here. The design of the Roca BoxHop is not your typical container design. You've got the 20-footer and the 40-footer beside it, and then the 40-footer on top is actually turned so that it could fit in this exact location, and then it's also cantilevered on the first floor to hang out 10 feet. In Ohio, there are a lot of requirements when building a house with insulating the roof. If you look, we've raised the roof up. So a lot of structural engineering went into this one. A lot of thought on how do we fit it and still make it fit the space. Emily did the design. It is a very whimsical design. If you look at the siding, you look at the living roof that we've put on here, just trying to get it to blend into the environment around us. Emily has a zoology degree. I have a history degree. I made dog food for 10 years. Emily was a real estate agent. So I think the BoxHop kind of helped us find our purpose for this season of our lives. And we'd never designed a home. We'd like taken one wall out of a kitchen, right? And that was it. That's the only experience we had.
My family's big into environmental construction. His dad has a ton of work building houses. So I think we both felt confident that if we didn't know something, we would have this like awesome backbone to help us along the way.
This property is on 75 acres. This is exactly what you see in Hocking Hills. Hocking Hills is the most visited state park in Ohio. Lots of black sandstone, lots of natural rock formations. I grew up coming here with my family, hiking trips, rappelling trips on the rock faces. My father worked in construction up high with harnesses and everything else, so he would always take us rappelling. I've gotten to do that with the older two kids that we have, ages 8 and 6. The 4-year-old and the 1-year-old, not yet, but I think we'll give them a couple years. But they love coming out here. I think by the end of this, my 6-year-old is gonna know how to build a container home in the next couple of years. This is one of the two waterfalls on the 75 acres where the Roca BoxHop is located. I'm sure you can hear it behind us. It falls around 70 feet. And then beside us here is the Britt family cookout space. So we've got where we light the fire. It's got this incredible backdrop around us. Exactly this location is where Emily and I decided we have to buy this property. This build took 5 months from start to finish. Most commonly asked questions we get about the Roca and other container homes: how do you maintain the structural integrity of the building? How do you put in windows? A lot of cutting metal and a lot of documentation from structural engineers and people that can make sure that you're supporting things before you cut holes. We bought a plasma cutter on Amazon a couple years ago for 1,500 bucks and never looked back. The foundation, we've got plates anchored into the concrete. We've got it welded to those plates all the way around. We smack them together and we weld them. We're usually clamping and bracing things together, use an excavator to shove it up against the other one so we can make sure all our welds are tight. You can stack them 8 high, loaded with over 40,000 pounds in each container. So that in and of itself is really impressive. The corners of these things are very, very structurally sound. The living roof, this is the first time we've done something like that. So I think we're still getting used to that. My brother spent about 2 weeks foraging throughout the woods. He's got all of this moss, all of the ferns, and we even put dirt and planted seed on top of it just to make sure that it kind of contributes to the environment and it doesn't take away from it. So one thing that we get a lot of questions about on shipping containers are, what are these plastic things on the end of your shipping container? You'll find them on any shipping container. It's air exchange. It allows it to ventilate without taking in the elements. For us in a home, you don't necessarily want that. So on the inside, we actually weld over those and seal those up. But we keep them. It adds that container aesthetic. We're not trying to hide the fact that it's a shipping container. We always leave the outsides exposed. The only pieces we cover up would be like the traditionally framed sections that you see on the siding. One thing I'll add on the outside of this house, this siding was as difficult as it looks. Emily drew something on a piece of paper and said, do this. And I'm like, it's gonna take a lot of time. Are you sure you want me to do that? How about we do something else? No, this is what we did. So basically we took all cedar siding pieces, right? We put them together. We carved out 5 different templates and cut every one of these by hand with a jigsaw just to get this exact look. So we're going to move into the hot tub area. Emily chose this location because it hugs this rock right beside us. If you look at the decking here, it all chisels around the rock. It complements the space well. And what a beautiful day. It's snowing. I'm probably gonna jump in this hot tub in about 5 minutes. So this actually overlooks a ravine. If you can hear the waterfall from here, it's about that way, 50 feet. If you're in the hot tub, you can cook hamburgers in the grill while you're in the hot tub if you want. I wouldn't recommend it. This is up about 40 feet. The cantilever on the container hangs out 10 feet over the foundation and overlooks just a beautiful sandstone cliff face. These containers are actually really, really old. So the way I look at it, they've got a lot of character and they're much more affordable. So you'll see some dings and dents. We relocated them so that the window placement and where they come up together will better utilize where they were seeing some damage. But all in all, I think these were 7 years old before we bought them.
So the Roca BoxHop probably cost us right around $350, I would say, for the structure in itself. You could definitely do it much less. I like to add a ton of character to the houses, especially this one that's nestled between the 2 rocks, and it just felt very whimsical to me.
We don't necessarily try to do things the most affordably. It's how do we create the best experience?
It sort of came easy to me to think, okay, if this is how we're going to situate them, what makes sense for a floor plan? The hard part, I think, came when I took that and kicked it to Seth, and I was like, can you actualize this? Can you make this into something? I am excited to show you guys inside now. You know, we're nestled between 2 rocks. We've got this living roof. It feels really whimsical. So you have to have that Hobbit-like round doorway. That's just, in my mind, what had to happen to lead off the entrance to this house. So let's go ahead and check out the inside. Here we are in the foyer, as Seth likes to call it. We are actually standing inside a 20-foot shipping container. This gold ceiling was a fun way to enter this house. This house is very eclectic, it's very whimsical. So Seth actually had the idea from the Black Keys song to do gold on the ceilings. And that totally complemented all the accents in this house and my like weird twist to the aesthetic in here. So not only was the ceiling gold, but as you can see, crazy wallpaper, yellow, gold, just very bright, and that's a huge feature of this house as well. Off to the right of the door are these big picture windows. Now, when I originally thought how we were gonna build this house, This whole tower of a staircase in my mind was going to be glass, just totally glass on all sides. And our budget did not allow for that. Our second alternative was to get the staircase in this foyer and traditionally frame up above. Worked out perfect. I just added these large picture windows. We've got a small little laundry area to my left. We've also managed to fit in a half bathroom that sort of bridges the gap between this 20-foot container that we're standing in and a 40-foot container that's directly beside it that are butted up together. Let's take a peek at this little half bathroom. Again, that's sort of bridging the two containers of the 20-foot and the 40-foot right beside us. So it's super small, but it is really unique. And I love it. It just has a little punch to it with this crazy wallpaper. You have this rock for a bowl of a basin sink. We've got a lampshade with yet again another pattern. We've got open shelves with multicolored books. You can see that there still is that difference in the ceiling heights because of that bridging in the gap between one container and another. And the reason for that is 20-foot containers typically come in an 8-foot height. The 40-foot containers that's right next to it, those can come in 8-foot or they can come in 9.5 high. We like to build with 9.5 high whenever possible because it just makes the space feel larger. Obviously, like a higher ceiling height just makes everything bigger. The 20-footers do come with high cube, they call it, 9.5 high ceilings, but they're very hard to come by. They're called like the white rhino of the shipping container world. So they're less likely that we could get our hands on one for a reasonable price. That's just why you see that difference in the heights here. All right, we're gonna move on over to the dining space right over this way. Not far to go, but here we are in the 40-foot container. Again, you see that ceiling height go much higher. I like to incorporate a lot of old and vintage or meaningful things to each of our builds. I do like to collect. I go to antique stores and flea markets, and sometimes it's just my grandma's basement or my grandma's house, and it's just fun for me to collect items. And this chandelier is actually one that came from my grandmother's house that I grew up going to and visiting, and it was very, very special to me. But the aesthetic for it just fit really well in this house, and it just keeps the property and the house itself for Seth and I to feel very personal and have our own touches to it. So that's really important for us to do that in each space that we create. Something I don't want to go without mentioning is the floor that you see. It was not easy, and Seth was probably cursing me a few times over while doing it, but each tile individually went in to make this awesome effect that you see with the checker floor. And I just love it. I think it's, again, perfect for this aesthetic. From here to my left is going to be the kitchen, one long galley kitchen. You're standing again in the 40-foot container, so you don't have a ton of options for how you orient the kitchen. It feels only right to put it on one side, make it a clean, easy access to your stove, your sink, your refrigerator. It works well when you're working with containers because of their narrow 8-foot wide. And one way that I help it not feel so tight is, again, by incorporating the windows as much as possible inside these houses. So starting with our cocktail beverage cabinet, we went ahead and put a window behind the cabinet so that you could see through this glass cabinet all the way through to the rocks behind it. We also are very fond of using panoramic, long and skinny windows so that you can see outside on all directions. And I think that, again, really helps the space not to feel so narrow or so tight. So you have this view of everything that just feels like the outside is right here with you. On the opposite side of the kitchen is going to be this custom bookshelf, bookcase, whole arrangement that Seth, again, was cursing at me for making. It kind of gives you this like warm entry into a living space on the very end. Going with a round window, very whimsical, something to cozy up and read a book, have rock just on the other side of you. The top cubby is going to hide and camouflage a TV that can be seen and used in the kitchen or in the living space. We cannot leave the kitchen until I give a mention on this red Smeg refrigerator. We call it like the cherry red Smeg. Everyone loves it, and it just adds so much fun pop of color and character again to this ever crazy house. And then right after the Smeg, we have the living room and the living area. And it just allows a little extra room to spread out, have kids run around. This part of the container is what's hanging off the side of the foundation, and there's a drop off below us and then a cliff face just in front of us. So you really get this feeling of like you're suspended and you see these cliffs all around you and the snow's falling beautifully. So it's almost like a canyon, this little area that it's tucked back in, and you get that essence when you're in this living room. We added this very fun gallery wall, another option to add in character with wallpaper, and then of course a cute little lamp that comes down for reading, having a softer light in the space if you're just hanging out here in the evenings. There's a lot to take in as soon as you get upstairs. The big rock cliff, the top, and meet Ramsey. So Seth and I were at a flea market. As soon as we saw Ramsey, we were like, that's weird, and we love it, and it's coming with us to the Roca. So here he is. It's a fun statement, and it fits beautifully with the wallpaper and the surroundings, and we just loved doing that. Coming down the small hallway, some artwork, and at the end of the 40-footer on this second floor is bedroom 1. We like to call this bedroom the gold room. It's very simple, has a queen bed on the bottom and a lofted twin above it. Just offers more sleeping space if you've got kiddos or a friend that's joining you. The other thing to note in this room is a skylight, and that's it, keeping it simple and sweet. Just outside, as you walk down the 40-footer up here on the second floor, it's gonna be really simple. So you've got the bedroom, bathroom in the middle, and then a bedroom on the end. This is the upstairs bathroom, toilet, pedestal sink, and then this shower that basically set the tone for this whole room. It is a tile that goes on just like wallpaper. You literally have to match the pattern of each piece to the next. Okay, before we head to the last bedroom, if you didn't notice the first time, these 3 round windows, again, you have these immaculate views. So I didn't want to just go with boring windows, so I decided to go with a smaller size round window that allows you to see out into this canyon on your way to the next bedroom. And this is the master suite. You have a skylight, you have the picture windows that are just like the ones we saw in the living room, but you're up a little bit higher. So again, cantilevered yet again, at an even higher elevation. We were able to squeeze in a full king size bed. It is, a lot of the room is the bed itself. We're just here to sleep and the party's out there. I added a fun little light in the corner, and of course, my wallpaper that I needed to have to really highlight this room in this last section of the house.
I think it's something special to be able to create a space where you feel lucky to get to be. And genuinely, I feel that way, to be able to take our kids here or to create experiences for people, because it's not just you're staying somewhere, but it really is an experience, and you feel it when you get here. Why hotel when you can hop?
Thanks for watching this week's video. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you soon with another alternative or tiny home tour.